It's primary season, everyone, and if you haven't voted in them yet, make sure you look up when yours are and make a plan to vote. So today on our Primary Watch series, we are interviewing Chris Gallant, who is running in the Democratic primary in New York's 1st District, which is out on Long Island. He's part of a wave of young Democrats and a few Republicans who are running in primaries, challenging incumbents, and trying to become new voices in Congress, and we are talking to them. So pour a drink because we're bringing you into our group chat about politics and the next generation of leaders in our country. This is Political Playlist Happy Hour.
Welcome to Political Playlist.
All right, are we ready, guys?
Happy Hour.
Happy hour.
You fucked that up so bad.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Political Playlist Happy Hour. I'm Anna Muskie-Goldwyn.
And I'm Anthony Barquette.
All right, we've got a doozy for you today. Anthony, tell us about who we're interviewing.
I mean, Chris is a really cool guy. I mean, definitely a certified badass. Only 36 years old. He joined the military at the age of 17, which is...
But I think he's at 16.
16.
Wild.
Which is wild and, really activated by 9/11, which is super relatable to both of us. He's been deployed overseas to the Middle East, and he served in the National Guard while also training to be an air traffic controller. Kind of a big topic today, right?
Need more of those.
And he was also trained as a pilot and was a Black Hawk pilot deployed to Kuwait. I mean,
certified badass, like you said.
Certified badass, yeah. He continues to serve as a volunteer firefighter, and he's now running for the Democratic primary in New York, District 1, looking to unseat another younger politician whose name is Nick LaLota, who's a Republican. But I just have to say, from our conversation with Chris, great guy. To me, he seems like someone I'd go to so many dinner parties, and if I got seated next to Chris, I'd be like, thank God I was sitting next to Chris, because it was a good conversation. I enjoyed him. He's not weird or awkward in any way.
He's not weird.
Well, come on,
weird.
You go to so many dinner parties, though, right?
Yeah.
And we've interviewed a lot of politicians at this point.
Yeah.
And
some of them are weird.
And some of them are weird. Don't get me wrong. But I think I'm really had a great time interviewing him, and excited to see what happens in this primary.
Yeah, very cool. So enjoy our conversation with Chris Gallant, candidate in New York 1. Chris, so nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. We're really excited to chat with one of the many young Democrats taking on politics this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, funny enough, I'm right now in our primary, there's someone who's quite a bit younger than I am, and now I'm at 36 years old. I'm being called the old guy. So
I feel like it's always like when we started Political Playlist, we were like, what's the age that we should really be focusing on? And we chose 45, and we tell everyone, we're like, trust us, 45 is still young in politics.
Yeah.
Although I guess there are people now, now Gen Z is coming to get us. We feel very old.
Yeah, I think the worst part too, Chris, is I'm 35, and now when you start filling out anything doctor's office, you're like, I'm 3 or 4 bullets in now.
Yeah.
You're like, I used to be on the one end, now I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So,
or when you have to go select your birth date and you're scrolling, you're like, I'm still scrolling.
Totally.
Times get longer.
I'm like, oh my God, people were born in 2015. Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of beyond that, you have such an incredible resume, which I'm sure is why so many of the people in your hopefully district are connecting with you. And something that we just wanted to kind of start out with is your military service. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but you joined the military in the years after 9/11. I mean, I assume if you're 36, it was a few years after, but was that kind of the impetus for you seeing what had happened, being a New Yorker?
Yeah. That was the catalyst. I actually, in 6th grade, I remember watching the Twin Towers fall. I actually wound up getting priced off of Long Island. My family did, and we moved actually to Pennsylvania.
Oh.
And so I was the New Yorker from Pennsylvania, or in Pennsylvania. And when 9/11 happened, everybody turned and looked at me, and I was remembered like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I just didn't kind of know what to say. I mean, it was such a shocking moment. And we have, it's interesting to think that we have people that are of drinking age that never weren't there then, and how fast time goes by. But that was really the crowning moment. And then I remember being in high school, watching on TV us invade Iraq, and saying to myself, well, if we're doing this and we're going to war, I wanted to serve my country and actually do my duty, and that's what I did. I joined the military at 17. The National Guard provided me with the ability to actually kind of stay home. I wanted to finish out a degree and have
Mm.
that opportunity, and so I decided to join the National Guard. And so my junior year of high school, I did finish out that. And then between junior and senior year, that summer, I actually did basic training at Fort Benning. So I was there for
Wow.
that, and then I was able to come back and finish out my high school career. And then once high school was finished, I went and I got my advanced training. Um,
Wow.
and I became an air traffic controller then. I was deciding in high school like exactly what I wanted to do, and air traffic just happened to be one of the most interesting jobs. And I also thought that it was about that 20-year mark after the Reagan administration had fired all the PATCO controllers. And I figured, well, at this point, it's that 25-year mark. Everybody's going to be retiring. And that was exactly the case. I mean, air traffic control had been at their lowest employment level ever. And I mean, they're still declining. They're still struggling to keep employees. And then so I went and between the Army, I had a deployment in 2012, and my college degree, everything was focused on air traffic. And as soon as I graduated college, the FAA wound up picking me up, and that's how I got into the FAA.
Wow.
Uh, and then later on down the road, I actually, when I'm in 2020, I actually went to flight school to become a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, which is what I do now. And then I deployed again in 22 to 23, which is actually where I met my fiance on our last deployment. So
Oh
talk
my
about
God, that's
like,
amazing. We'll get into that for sure. It's so interesting what you said about I grew up in Connecticut, just outside the city as well. And like I was also in sixth grade when the towers went down. And I feel like for people our age, that is the seminal kind of definitive moment of our lives. And obviously now as we look at younger generations, they're experiencing new seminal moments like COVID and things like that. And I think that's one of the reasons that we love focusing on young people in politics because, we get to experience people like yourself as young voters who have shared those experiences and understand what that's like. And I think your specific story about, that calling you to serve and then just the domino effect that had in your life. I mean, talk about air traffic controllers certainly having a moment now in the news.
Hot
So,
oh
topic.
yeah,
Hot topic. Yeah.
for sure. I was actually welcomed on to Jake Tapper, Stephanie Rule during the last major shutdown,
oh, wow.
and I was on TV discussing what air traffic controllers go through when the government shut down. I mean, nobody wins in a government shutdown.
Right.
And the interesting thing is that I really get experience from both sides of the mic. I mean, as a Black Hawk pilot and then as an air traffic controller, I get to yell at myself every now and again. Um, but I was able to kind of explain what is going on in the minds of these controllers because they do work one of the most stressful jobs in the world. It is very high pressure, high intensity, high stress. And that's why the requirements for breaks are integrated into their scheduling. But when you have to add on top of what they're doing upstairs in the control tower or in a radar room, how are they going to put food on their table? How are they going to take care of their children? How are they going to keep their roof over their head? Their mortgage payments start coming up. And those are actual real struggles. I mean, I don't know how you just can't add that stress to an already stressful situation. It just brings people to a breaking point.
Yeah.
And those, like I said, what I was talking about when I was on Jake Tapper is those are the discussions that are occurring in the tower when controllers are on a break. It goes from something that's relaxing and something that they can, talk about that's easy to talk about. They're talking about, okay, how am I feeding my children?
Right.
How am I paying for the childcare that they have?
Right.
So those are real big
Not a
stress.
relief from the stress that they're already experiencing on the job. And then
No.
that's when bad things can happen, I guess.
Yeah.
People are overworked.
Yeah, maybe to expand on that topic a bit, Chris. It's affordability is a huge topic today, and it's kind of been a flip-flop issue. Depending which party is in power. Republicans ran on it with against Biden, and now Democrats are running against running on it against Trump. You know, what are you talking to your constituents about instead of kind of blaming the other side, and how to, handle affordability today?
Affordability is just such a big umbrella that there's so many pieces to it. Um, I like to focus a lot on, again, I always think that our children are our future, and they really are. And when it comes to getting a good education, I have 9 nieces and nephews. Some of them actually are in the military, or were or are.
Wow.
Um, and I have some who are college age, trying to go through college, and trying to leave the nest and afford a home on Long Island, where the median household price is right now is around $750,000.
Wow.
And then you add that on top of schooling costs and extended loans. Um, th- y- we need to make sure that our children are getting a good education so that we can improve our lives later on down the road, and that innovation always becomes a thing. Emerging technology, scientists, I feel like one of the big groups that are struggling, doctors and nurses are still struggling from COVID. I mean, there was such a
Mhm.
burnout during COVID that, I mean, it was insane. And I remember working at the Javits Center. I was a safety officer for the Unified Command there. And watching those doctors and nurses every day come into such a stressful situation
Mm.
that the burnout was real, and it happened everywhere. So if we're not helping get more doctors and nurses, and I mean, we're gonna be in a really tough situation, in a tough place.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, with the bill that Donald Trump passed for the big beautiful bill. I mean, you reduce the amount of money that federal student loans are able to cover students, down to $200,000 for an advanced degree or $100,000 for a basic degree. A friend of mine was going through college to become a psychologist, and he turned around after the bill came out and said, "Well, I have to quit school because I can't afford it now."
Mm.
Mm.
Those are affordability issues that affect us all. I mean,
Yeah.
if we were going through college, these are the same problems that we might have for those types of things. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's one of them, as when we talk about affordability.
Mhm.
And then between housing is a huge issue. Housing is always talked about. Affordable housing, how do we fix those problems? How do I, as a congressman, bring federal dollars here in order to build affordable housing, while also making sure that we hold corporations accountable for
Hmm.
price gouging, or buying up these affordable housing and then charging tons more money for it. Um, Getting those dollars in the right areas to make it more affordable. And then, the other big thing is too, grocery prices. I laughed because when I left on my deployment, I was able to fill a shopping cart for $100, and that was kind of normal, right? I had such sticker
Now
shock.
it's a
I
bag.
I I had such sticker shock when I came back from my deployment, right? So I got left in 22, came back in 23, and you couldn't fill a shopping bag for $100. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even anything that was crazy. I mean, literally one shopping bag just about $100. And I had such sticker shock because when you're overseas on deployment, you don't pay for anything really. I
Right.
mean, your food's provided for you, your roof is provided for you. You're just more focused on what the mission is. And so it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Going to
so,
the
so
grocery store is a stressful experience. Ugh.
Yeah. It sounds like, though, with you, you kind of get the best of, or maybe you get to see both cases with so many nieces and nephews. You get to see how it's affecting the younger generation and probably older generation.
yeah.
So can I assume, are you the fun uncle here out of the,
Yeah, they
yeah.
say the gunkle, right? The fun
Yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
out.
the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
gunkle. I
Yeah.
feel like that's implied, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to touch on something that you said talking about Trump's bill. And, one of the things that always frustrates me, kind of to what Anthony was saying before, is that like the reality is that, the time period that you just mentioned, that was under Biden, right? Like then, and Republicans wanted to kind of blame the affordability crisis on him. I think most of us can take a step back and see that a lot of that was the repercussion of COVID, along with other factors. But one thing that I am so curious from people like yourself who are trying to get in the arena and change things on a legislative level is like, do you envision a future near or far where there can be like bipartisan solutions to these affordability questions? Because it feels like that's the only way to actually level things out and to make everyone take responsibility as opposed to one party or the other.
I think that's a lot of the reason why I've decided to run.
Mm,
I think I speak for most Americans when we say that we're so tired of the us versus them rhetoric. We need to work together. I love the fact that we have two parties, because it provides check and balance, and I mean that's the entire purpose of what our entire government is built off of: three branches of government, two parties, where we can actually check and balance each other, and we can debate really about or realistically about certain issues and whatever they may be and come up with solutions that are going to work best for the American people. When I decided to run and what my focus is I'm a representative of New York One. And I'm driving home that message saying, holding town halls, holding meet and greets, meeting people where they're at, understanding what their problems are. And that's how I've developed my entire platform or my priorities is
mm,
based off of those conversations because it's not all about me. It's about the people I'm representing. And so that's my job is to bring that to Congress and then to support those issues that are going to be effective for my constituents.
yeah,
And I feel like we've lost that.
yeah.
And that's some of the things that I want to make sure that we start bringing back. I want to start restoring faith in our government. I talk to people all the time. They feel they don't have an avenue to express themselves. They don't have someone who wants to be there to listen to them. And those are the things that I want to restore. I want to restore the trust in our government, and I want to be able to I want to be able to listen to people or allow people to go to someone and have them listen to them.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I would say we definitely have hoped, but we've also seen a lot of our listeners have really got inspiration from a lot of young politicians like yourself, especially seeing how old some of our politicians are, and it gives them a bit more restoring faith in our government that some people are actually fighting for issues they believe in. But curious kind of on that topic of town halls, a big topic would be Iran right now, and especially being with your service background, how would you be talking about this issue today and answering some questions related to how it's being handled?
Well, it's a very interesting topic, and and I mean just like look at what's happening as the result of it. Uh, I mean, Donald Trump ran on originally saying that if anybody else had become president, they would immediately be at war with Iran. And we are a year and a month in, and we are. And again, when we put bunker busters over there, because I mean, I agree, Iran should not have nuclear weapons. And so that was supposed to be the solution to that. And then all of a sudden, now we're in an hostile. It's not war yet, right? Because Congress has to declare war.
Hmm.
But we are
Even though
in a
they're calling it
hostile.
a war, so
I mean,
Yeah.
but in reality, we're in a hostile engagement with them,
mm,
and um, with the help of our counterparts in Israel in particular. But you know, I don't want to be stuck in another 20-year war like we were in Iraq.
mm,
We have so many things and issues that we have to focus on here at home that we need to fix and we need to work on. Um, as a community, as a country, that we going around and being the world police again is something that the administration had said that they didn't want to do, and so that's really I think one of the biggest things that bothers me is that we do one thing and well we say another. Um, so that's kind of what my message has been, and then we've dumped so much money into this war as well. When we talk about we can't even pay for healthcare for our
mhm,
citizens. And so those are the issues that I have.
yeah.
And when we talk about healthcare, I mean, uh, you know, this last bill just essentially cut off 20,000 Long Island or 20,000 people in my district off their healthcare.
Oh, wow.
Um, and so those are challenges as well, and that really rolls into the affordability crisis.
Yeah.
And now with this war continuing, gas prices are surging. They're at an all-time high. Well, they're increasing daily.
Hmm.
Um, so those are some of the issues that I have with this. I mean, being the world police again and jumping into wars that we don't have a clear end in.
Do you feel like the people you talk to as you're campaigning, you mentioned people in your district not losing their health care, for example. Are people making that connection right now between what's happening overseas and what the administration is pursuing in the Middle East? And the issues that that we're all having here at home? Like, is that connection that you just made that I think a lot of politicians on the left are making, do you find that Americans themselves that you talk to are making that connection?
Yes. I mean, I speak to everyone. I don't, doesn't matter to me whether you're Republican, Democrat, in between, or something else. I have conversations with everyone. And again, in the army and the fire department, which do lean very right, I laugh all the time because a lot of them tell me, "Oh, you'd be the first Democrat I'd ever vote for." Um,
It's a
so those
compliment.
Always nice.
conversations,
That's nice.
yeah, I'm right. So, but those are the conversations that we do have, and yes, those connections are being made, I think, in a lot of areas because we look at what was told to us during the run up during the election cycle when Donald Trump before Donald Trump got into office, and we look at what was told to us and what the expectation was, and now we look back at it, and now we're a year and year and a couple months ahead, and that's not what we got. We got
Mhm.
something completely different.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, those are the connections that are being made, and a lot of people don't like the administration for doing what's been done. And the my opponent Nick LaLota, who I'm running against, again, he hasn't held town halls. He doesn't talk to his constituents, and we are tying that and everything that he supports essentially. He votes in line with Donald Trump most of the time. Um, and so we're tying those things all together, and it's working, and people understand it, and
Hmm.
that's the messaging that we're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I'm really interested from your background. I mean, we saw when Secretary Hegseth came in and you know changed the name to the Department of War and making a lot of identity based decisions. Doesn't want saying no women in combat, physical standards for those who serve, unsurprisingly banning trans people from serving. Can you speak a bit about your experience and how you feel about this new decision coming out of the department?
I mean, if changing the name to the Department of War was any indicator, I mean, it was an indicator as to what was
Yeah.
gonna happen. Uh, that's kind of point blank.
Yeah.
But look, I agree. There is a standard. And in the military, I mean, you need to be able to meet or exceed the standard to go into combat or to whatever it is. And in my opinion, if you can reach and meet that standard, then you should be able to do what it is that you need to do. I've worked with transgender members of the military, and some of them are because they already have that stigma behind them that they feel that they need to be above and beyond, and oftentimes they were. And I mean, the people that I've always worked with, they were terrific soldiers. And so to arbitrarily just say, okay, you're all fired. And I mean, I believe I know someone who had a 19-year career.
Wow.
They said goodbye and, no retirement. And that was it. And I don't understand how you can do that to someone who has decided to serve their country.
Yeah.
Um, and that's really appalling to me. Um, and it really just comes down to the stigma of the transgender community. I joined the military in 2006 initially. Uh, yeah, 2006, 2007, 2006, I think. And when I was in, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was a thing.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so I was been openly gay since I was 15 or 16, 15, I think. And so when I joined the military, I had to live under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which
Wow.
in its rights was a protection to me as well. As long as nobody asked me if I was gay, I didn't tell anyone. And as long as I didn't tell anyone, I was safe.
Mhm.
But in 2011, when it was actually officially repealed, 2012 was my first deployment, and I was able to be out and open. And frankly, I actually had support from people. People who actually looked up to me for being able to hold my head high and be who I was. And I, again, did my job, and it didn't change anything.
Yeah.
And so it was very good for the environment that we were in. I was very comfortable with who I was, and I never ran into any issues throughout my entire career, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so again, I mean, does that mean that later on down the road, maybe I'll get attacked? Will the gay community might get attacked in the military? because now the transgender community has. Those are always questions like what's going to happen tomorrow? Are we going to step back another 10 years? So making sure that we protect our soldiers that have done a good job, that have met the standard, should be able to continue to serve.
Yeah.
The standard is the standard. I mean, that's what it's there for.
Right.
So that's what I was always believed. If you can meet the standard, you should be able to serve your country.
I think what you said is so interesting, and I imagine is a common experience of, you know, of people coming out or open or coming into the military openly out, that I would have to imagine most people don't care. Like, I just feel like for me, not that I am anywhere near a soldier, and I commend all of you who have the fortitude to do so, but like when I think about that type of person, you're not there to judge each other. You're there to like be on a mission. And so what is so interesting and sometimes frustrating about all of this to me is like I don't feel that these decisions, and do you agree basically, like it seems like these decisions aren't really being made for the people on the inside. They're being made to posture to people on the outside who have some prejudgment about what a gay soldier can do or can't do, what a trans soldier can do or can't do. And do you feel that it's sort of a non-issue for most on the inside, and now it's kind of just being externalized for political purposes?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It really is. It really is more of an external issue than it is an internal issue.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I've never had any problems. If anything, I've had terrific support. Um, I have a lot of friends in the military. I mean, and we are brothers in arms through and through. And as anyone would have my back, I have theirs, and that's just how we. That's what a soldier's job is. I mean, we are supposed to have each other's back. No man left behind, and those are the ethos we live by. And it doesn't matter. I mean, whether you're gay, straight, or indifferent, those things just don't make a difference.
Yeah.
You come in, you do your job, you do it as best as you can. That's how I've always lived my life, and that's what we were able to do, and I built that camaraderie up.
I want to talk about I read something about you kind of gave put in a statement maybe that you wanted to bring discipline and accountability back to politics. And I feel like you've mentioned this a little bit already, and now talking sort of about what it was like for you in the service, it makes me think of it even more. I think that most people would agree with you. I think that that is something that resonates with a lot of us. But I'm wondering, like, if you were to be elected in this district, what are the active things that you would want to do as a member of Congress to try to bring that discipline and accountability, understanding the political climate that you would be entering into at the beginning of next year if you were elected?
That's a tough question because
Sorry.
there's so much
Mine
to
are
all.
much easier, Chris. Mine are much easier.
No,
And- no, no,
it's not that it's not easy. It's
no.
more that there is so much going on.
Yeah.
Um, I think the principal reason why I've decided to run was because I have sworn to a constitution when I joined the military, to defend, to protect and defend this country from enemies, both foreign and domestic. And I want to make sure that those things are sacred to us. I mean,
Mhm.
those are what we swear by. We also swear into the Constitution and not any one person, no king, and things like that. So I want to make sure that our three branches of government are respected as they should be. If the judicial branch comes up with a ruling that it's followed by the other branches of government as it's supposed to be. When we see multiple executive orders that in every regard are very unconstitutional, and then they're executed and then they're not followed when a judge says you can't do that. Those things are where their accountability needs to be held. That needs to be put into line. When Congress needs to start holding hearings about certain things that are illegal and outside the scope of whatever branch of government is doing other things. That's how we hold accountability. And so those are things that I would fight for every day to make sure
Mm.
that the Constitution is upheld and making sure that our rule of law is sacred.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On that note, just I'm curious because really you're running in a purple district, like a Republican one. Was it a Democrat before Representative Lolota or who?
So it
What?
was a Republican. It's been Republican for about 10 years.
Okay. So, but with that said, like, you have a wide spectrum of people that that you would be looking to serve and have vote for you, as you mentioned, talking to people across the spectrum there on politically. Like, do you feel like this idea of accountability in government is something that's resonant with Democrats, Republicans, independents, everything in between? And how do maybe people on the right speak about it differently right now than people on the left that you talk to?
I think that the biggest thing that we hear across the board, and polling numbers actually can even show this. I mean, while affordability is like the number one topic in many people's minds because that's what hits your pocket.
Mhm.
The other really big issue that people discuss all the time is the corruption. And I mean, it's been several years that people have discussed corruption, whether it's insider trading or whether it's just the ability to make money off the backs of Americans, those types of things. Like corruption is really a big one. And whether you're Republican or Democrat or in between, these are the corruption is the number one issue.
Mhm.
Um, and so I also think the benefit is that, and the reason why I'm also running in a federal position because I don't have the political background. I don't have the baggage that comes with having run. I think people are looking for new blood, new faces, somebody who can come in and say, okay, look, this is let's come up with new ideas and start working together again. And again, restore faith in our government because that's what we really need. And anybody can say that. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel Republicans tell me all the time they've lost faith in our government. Democrats say all the time they've lost faith in our government.
Mhm.
So my job here is to attempt to restore that. And people tell me all the time, well, you're just one person. I was like, yeah, but sometimes it only takes one person and then you build a coalition of people
Mhm.
around you and there's a lot of people who are in office now that I speak to as well, and they feel the same way. And so working together again and coming up with real solutions to real problems is how we restore that faith.
Yeah.
So Chris, if you were, elected tomorrow, is there one bill that you would really want to bring to the floor right away, or on a certain topic?
Another easy question.
Mm.
See,
I
you
think
can
that I
see
think
my questions aren't as long as Anna's, so yeah,
I
kind of get
pontificate a little
sentient.
bit, sorry.
no, it's good. It's good.
I'm
So
I'm just smarter.
Okay.
I hear a lot of people discuss healthcare and where are
Mm.
we going with healthcare. Um, I, I, we're the greatest country in the world. And so we should be able to provide our citizens with excellent healthcare, top of the line. And we're failing in that. So how do we get to say maybe free healthcare or single payer system or something similar to that? Um, the first it's going to take steps and it's going to require time and it's going to require both Democrats and Republicans to come up with a solution that is actually going to work.
Mm.
Um, I am leaning on what the Democrats are currently trying to do to at least have Medicare cover dental, hearing, and vision is a
Mm.
step. But eventually, we should be able to work towards a system that there's a single payer system, and every American should be entitled to health care that is free in some regard. I have a friend of mine who's right now going through pancreatic cancer,
Mm.
and he started he it was like chemotherapy in November timeframe, October, November, December. So he's on this medication because he had part of his pancreas removed. And before January 1st, the medication was free. It was $0. It was covered by ACA credits. And after January 1st, so January 2nd, I believe he went to get a refill, $1,404.
Oh my god.
And if he
Terrible.
doesn't take the medication, he's got 2 weeks to live.
Whoa.
That, in my opinion, is completely not acceptable,
Yeah.
especially for here, again, America. Like that, yeah. And to put that kind of stress on someone who now really can't work because now they're sick, very, very ill, obviously. But now you have to put yourself into debt to cover a medication to survive. $1,400 a month is a mortgage payment for some people,
Yeah,
or rent in other parts of the country. Not in Long Island. Long Island, $2,500 can get you a shoebox. But in other parts of the country, that kind of money is rent for some
yeah,
people.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money. That's a crazy expense, and I think it's unacceptable. And
yeah,
that needs to get fixed.
yeah.
It's a good
I
one.
love that. Yeah. I do think we're in this moment that we haven't really been in since the ACA was passed, where healthcare does feel so much at the forefront of people's minds politically. And it'll certainly be both interesting and hopefully good to see how that plays out. But
That comes with the affordability problem.
totally,
It's all part of
totally.
it. That's why I say
Yeah.
affordability is such a large umbrella of so many things. I mean, we could talk about affordability for 3 hours.
Right.
But healthcare is now the forefront of people's minds with the way things are going right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I know there are some bipartisan efforts to at least try to get these subsidies extended. Whether or not those will pass remains to be seen. But I think to your point, what kind of like jerked me when all this went through was just the 180 of it all and how it affects people like your friend. Not that I personally agreed with taking away the subsidies, but if people are saying, oh, we want to make sure that we're being more responsibly spending and not having these subsidies, to just like rip them away from people overnight is just such a tragic thing and a life or death for thing for people like your friend. So I hope that he's hanging in there. That's tough.
It's tough.
Something a little personal. You mentioned that you're engaged. Is the wedding happening this year? Are you going to wait?
Well,
Speaking of affordability.
Yeah.
So my fiance is actually currently on deployment. So
what is that like? I mean, what is that like? That must just be the hardest thing ever.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, he'll be overseas now until he'll be back in December.
Okay. Oh my God!
So,
Wow.
So I'll be a congressman by the time he gets back.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's
Then you'll be a power couple. Like it comes back, you'll be a congressman. He'll just be like riding your coattails. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we fortunately we have the ability now to talk daily. I remember on my first deployment. Do you remember Magic Jack?
Yes. Wait, why does
Yeah.
that ring
So
a
it was
bell?
the first voice over IP, and
Okay,
so,
okay.
Yes. Okay.
so when I was on my first deployment, it was 2012. I had Magic Jack at home, and I was able to download an app on my iPhone 3G. If you remember that.
Yeah.
And I was able to have a Kuwaiti SIM card, and I used it through the app to have a U.S. number. And you're standing on one leg, bouncing around, trying to get like
Yeah.
it's signal enough so it's clear, and you can actually have a conversation. And that was the age of when your only messaging platform was like Facebook messaging, because Facebook was the only
True.
thing really existing.
Yeah.
My last deployment, I had full Google Fi, I had regular phone service, full internet. So the technology is significantly different in comparison. And so being able to communicate and talk regularly is much easier now than it was then. I mean, even FaceTime and
Yeah.
other types of, whether internet messaging through what have you. So that is a benefit, fortunately. And the other thing that makes it a little easier is that both of us being in the military, both of us having a couple deployments under our belt, we understand.
Mm-hmm.
And having those conversations makes it much easier at the end of the day when you come home and you can use some kind of slang or whatever kind of words
Totally.
or we use and understand one another, and it makes it easier
Yeah.
to talk. But yes, we understand, and it makes it a little bit easier, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, wishing the best to him. Hope everything plays out well for him this year, and can't wait for the wedding, the congressional wedding to happen.
Yeah, Anna
Yeah,
and I
I
are
think,
great at speaking
We're
at
great
weddings.
party
if you need
planners
us.
if you
Yeah,
need
great party
any
planner.
help.
well, great, calm down.
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to shoot for, my birthday is in June. And so
Okay.
actually I proposed to him last June in the same place he brought me the June before for my birthday.
Oh,
So who knows?
that's very sweet.
Maybe June
Maybe
sounds
you'll
like a good
revisit
vibe.
it
Okay,
again.
I'm a June birthday too.
You're
What
June
are
birthday
I'm
too.
13th. What are you?
I had the easiest birthday in the world, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Wow, that is an amazing birthday.
Two Geminis. We're Geminis. We're kind of crazy.
So everybody
I got
watch
it.
out.
I
Everybody
vote for all
watch
the
out.
Geminis. No.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This was really informative. Maybe can you just tell people where they can find you, donate, follow your campaign as you're having that play out this year?
Yeah, so I did my best to keep it simple. So gallantny.com. Doesn't get any easier.
Amazing. We love
It's like
it.
we're in the dictionary, right? So gallantny.com is our website. Ability to donate is actually right on the website as well. But it also gives you a little bit more information about me, who I am. We did a really good launch video that my team put together.
Your launch
With-
video is amazing. Like
Yeah,
you
we
look
loved
very
it.
badass in your launch
I
video.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, when I was talking to my team, they're like, well, let's do something like, fun. It really kind of revolves around who you are as just in general, just,
Yeah.
just,
We'll make
yeah,
sure to be sharing that as well.
Yeah,
as ours.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I do feel like I will say before we hop off, like a lot of the young people, specifically like yourself, like challenging, people in primaries or, incumbents, that a lot of the launch videos we're getting are really great. People are
Mhm.
really like leaning into it. Young people understand how to use social media and like have
Yeah.
things have that virality. And I feel like I've seen some really good ones, including
People are
yours, so.
responding to them too.
Amazing. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much for joining us. It was really great to meet you. And best of luck with all that's ahead this year.
Yeah. Thank
Thanks,
you, Chris.
Anthony. Thanks, Alan.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.